I've started the recording.
Great. Hi, everyone. Thanks for attending the webinar today. And my name is Dr. James Burgess from Sports and Exercise Medicine Registrar and GP. We have got a webinar today on physical activity in older children and young adults, but there'll also be bits that are relevant to other age groups as well. The first speaker is Dan Fowler from Birmingham Scout Movement, and we've got Mark Jeffries, who's kind of come along from Birmingham City University. Just some outline of what we're going to discuss today. We're just going to discuss the work done by the Scout Movement in Birmingham, and there'll also be some other things that Dan will touch on, and how that can encourage physical activity in older children. And then we'll look at some of the ways that Birmingham City University have helped to encourage physical activity in staff and students, and that'll be applicable to young adults, but also other age groups as well. Just like to get your feedback as well, so I'm going to put a link into the chat for that. It's a little feedback, so it won't take too long. If you could fill that in, I'd be really grateful. All of the webinars will be uploaded onto the Healthy Brum channel shortly after today. So there's that. And if you're using Twitter, using that hashtag @HealthyBrum, that'd be really useful to just get the message out there. Also, if you're looking to have any questions or comments, we really welcome those. So if you'd like to put them in the chat box, and when Dan and Mark have finished their presentation, we can then answer those questions. But any comments as well, that highly welcome those as well. So without further ado, I'll bring you across into Dan, and I'll stop sharing the screen.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm just going to give you a quick 20 minutes or so breakdown on scouting we're doing in Birmingham at the moment, and how we're managing to get physical activity into the young people and starting to get into teenagers. So in Birmingham specifically, we've been out, the movement's growing quite a lot in the past couple of years. Even with the COVID lockdown restrictions, we're opening up more groups for all the ages from 6 to 18. And I'm going to focus mostly today on your older sections, that would be Explorer Scouts. So I'm an Explorer Scout leader, and that's for the age group of 14 to 18-year-olds. And I'll just quickly give you a talk of what we've been doing, obviously previous to lockdown and everything, and what we hope to do afterwards, and even the stuff we've been able to do in the meantime since. So obviously physical activity, football and everything, that kind of thing, isn't massively for everyone. Like personally myself, I enjoy it, but I'm not very good, so I don't play all the time. So we do a whole different variety of things going out, and especially in the older sections for explorers, it's a lot easier because when they're a bit older, they're hitting their teenage years, they can have that bit more freedom. So there's a lot more we can do with them. So there's so many different events that happen each and every year for physical activity. So this year specifically, we've got one that's happening at Gilwell Park in London, and that's something that Birmingham County Scouts take part in massively every single year, obviously apart from last year. And what that is 24 hours of different activities that they can go on. And I think it's from about 9 AM on the Saturday morning to 9 AM on the Sunday, and it's loads of different physical things that they can try. Stuff like your scuba diving, mountain biking, loads and loads of random different things that if they've never done it before, they just turn up and they can do it for half an hour, they can do it for so many hours, etc. Staying a bit more local, we have things such as the Trent Lock activity camps. So what this is, it's a camp up at the Trent Lock in Nottingham, and it's a water sports weekend. And that's another opportunity that we can give to them. That's something they wouldn't get normally, and it's a lot more close-knit as well. So you can get these kind of things in schools, but usually there's a couple of hundred kids that are going. You're just kind of doing the same thing, but with scouting, it's obviously a little bit smaller. So when we take our groups up, each individual gets their opportunity and their chance to take part in whatever they want to do. So that, because it's all water sports, you've got your whitewater rafting, your canoeing, your kayaking, your sailing. There's loads of different things they can do throughout the weekend, raft building, etc. And it's not just you have to do it yourself. So obviously scouting is a very community-based thing. So we have especially in Explorers, the way usually the system works is Beavers, Cubs and Scouts, so roughly the ages to 6 to 14, they all kind of know each other in their sections, and they're all run by one section. And then when you move up to Explorers, we're a bit more of a wider group. So we'll have different people from different groups coming up. So you'll meet completely new people, as well as still having your friends alongside you as well. At the moment, so obviously during lockdown, it's now nearly been a year since, especially my group, we've been doing meetings on mostly online. So it has obviously become increasingly difficult to try and complete these, get physical activity into our young people. But there's been so many different things we've actually been able to experiment with that have actually worked really well. So one event that actually finished weekend just gone was called Shire Hike. And that was actually run by the Hereford County, but was for us as well. And that was a whole project and experience to try and get young people from 6 to 18 up and moving and doing something. Now spring was starting to roll around, and try and get them out and about while we were struggling to do so during the lockdown. And all that basically was, it was a database of about 350 different hike routes, all from being quite easy to hard, from about 3 miles to 15 miles. You can do absolutely any you liked. And all you had to do was just submit a bit of evidence. It's a couple of photos as you're walking along, and you can go with your family. Obviously, we're all currently trying to stay safe and isolating, so you can just walk along with your family. Doesn't have to be with other scouts. Submit your evidence, and there were so many different awards you could get for the different hikes that you did. So at one point I think we had 11 of my own explorers that were on the award, and usually the top award you have to get 8 points to achieve. I had some of my explorers achieving 25 to 30 points, so we've had to make up some awards. So that was a really good way to be able to get them in. Hopefully, should lockdown be lifted soon, we have a plan for towards the end of the year. There's a campsite that is owned by Birmingham County Scouts up in Bromsgrove called Blackwell Court, partnered with Pikes Pool. And that has a massive centre of obviously your camping for scouts and for physical activity. So you've got your sports hall, which is just a generic sports hall. You can play your football, your basketball in there. Most commonly that's used up there is rock climbing. We go quite a lot. The older the kids are, the more into rock climbing they seem to be. There's so many different things we go about with doing that. And one of the main things I wanted to touch on with you guys today was the Duke of Edinburgh Award. Now, I know this can be run in schools. It's very, very quite different in schools compared to Scouts, how it's run. I do both. I run Scouts in schools and I run DV in schools and in Scouts, so I do see both sides of it. So in Scouts, the way we run it is we offer them the opportunity to take part as the DV Awards run alongside ours. So for those of you that don't know, the Duke of Edinburgh Award has 3 stages, the bronze, silver and gold. And 9 times out of 10, you usually start with the bronze. And what you have to do with that is there's 4 sections. There's your volunteering section, your physical section, your skills and your expedition. So when you're taking part in the award, you have to do either 3 to 6 months of volunteering. So that can be at a charity shop, that can be in a younger section in Scouts, basically anywhere really that will take you on for volunteering. We've had loads of different previous in the past from different people where they've gone. Your skill section, so it's to undertake a new skill or a current skill and develop it further for another 3 or 6 months. And then your physical is again a physical activity you may do that you'll take on for again 3 to 6 months. That it's either brand new and you want to learn and develop your skill in that, or if it's something you already do. So it could be something such as football. You want to improve your skill in football, or it can be you want to take on a new sport. We've had a lot of ours suddenly get into rowing, so they've taken on that. And then at the end of it, you have your expedition, which at bronze level, you go away for 1 night, 2 days, and it's around about 6 hours of activity each day, not necessarily walking. It's a minimum of 4 hours walking, but you can do all 6. And again, that's a great in itself, having the weekend away, having your expedition, walking along, and it's not just walking you can do. It is the most common one that we do, but you can cycle, you can horse ride, you can sail, and you can row. But like I said, walking's the main one we tend to focus on. And then that carries on as you're getting older. So bronze, you tend to start when you're about 15. So roughly your reward should take you 6 to 12 months when you're at bronze. And we've had a whole random host of different activities that people have wanted to do. And if you've got an idea that you'd want to do for your award, it's just double checking with the person that's running it, making sure they're happy. But 9 times out of 10, we're quite happy with what you're doing. The only difference between bronze and silver is the time frames. So when you do your bronze award, you do 6 or 3 months in your sections. In silver, you do 12 or 6 months in your sections, and then at gold, you do 18 months or 12, but you also have an extra thing on the end. So as well as your volunteering, your physical skill and expedition, you have something that's called a residential. So you go away for 7 days, 6 nights, and you go and help out at somewhere that you don't know anybody else. So it's kind of another volunteering, but it's meant to be some kind of project. So a friend of mine completed his gold award not long ago, and he, obviously before lockdown, he went to Morocco, and he did a 5-day expedition across Morocco, had 2 days off, and then went to go and help build a toilet block at a school for his residential. So he spent 2 weeks out in Morocco. So the DofE can bring so many different opportunities to young people to be able to do so many things that they wouldn't be able to maybe typically in school. And it's also kind of a motivator. So one thing I've always learned especially with teenagers, is yes, it's all well and good saying, oh, this would be really good for you, this would be good for your health. It's motivating them to actually believe you. So usually your stuff like your awards and all your different things such as that is kind of a good motivator behind them. And even whilst we've been in lockdown, they've been able to progress with their awards. So hopefully when we come out of it, we can carry on and do the bits that we weren't able to do before. How is the DofE award funded? So in scouting, it's mostly the Scout Association. So usually when we sign you up for each award, we charge £24 for each level you do. And then all the other equipment and everything is supplied by us. If you end up wanting to do a physical activity or a skill activity that requires funding, then that would be your personal funding. So say for your physical, you took part in a football team and you had to pay monthly subs to be part of that team, that would be down to you to pay that on top. But we get a lot of people that they want to keep it simple and they just want to say do jogging or cycling as part of their physical. And if they've already got a bike, they've already got the kit they want, and that's absolutely fine. But the only thing we charge is the £24, and then usually £10 extra for the expedition when we come to it. Schools work slightly differently. I will just quickly touch on that for you. Schools work slightly differently as they have the companies that come in. We're obviously volunteers and scouts, so we don't charge for our services. And in schools, typically, they'll have a specified DofE company that specialises in the award, and that tends to be around about £350 to £400 per person for bronze, and then around about £700 for the gold award. But that's just because it's completely different. Obviously, tents and all the camping equipment and stuff, typically as scouts we have anyway, so it's not really any extra charge for us as we're a charity. That mostly wraps up what I was going to say. If there was anything else.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dan. That was a really interesting talk. Some good areas. Just a few questions. I mean, in terms of scouts, I mean, what is the ongoing cost for being a member of scouts in terms of the sessions and that kind of thing for people?
So it completely differs between each group, because some will do slightly more than others. You get some groups that will say typically around about just bring along £2 per night that you attend. Some will charge monthly subs or termly subs. So our group specifically, we charge £10 a month. And that's with the young people get a lot back from that. So we're kind of at the higher end. But while we've been in lockdown, we've only needed about £4 of those subs to keep our group going. So we've actually essentially been refunding that £6 into what we call a fundraising account. And typically Explorer Scouts do have those kind of things. So we just say that, okay, in your fundraising account, you can spend it on camps, activities, etc. So you haven't got to spend to do those.
Great, no, great. But what do you think the effect of Bear Grylls has been on? I mean, I know he's the chief scout. Is that correct? I mean, I don't know if he still is, but has that had a positive effect, having some sort of role model, celebrity, involved with that in terms of encouraging physical activity or just engagement? Sorry, really, with the scout movement.
I think so, yeah. Because not most people I talk to that aren't involved in scouting will know of Bear Grylls, and they also know his background, where he's come from. So, and when he does say his TV shows and his different marketing and stuff, he does still touch on his background of scouting, and I think what he does very positively promote what we do. So the Bear Grylls has been a good effect and has definitely helped the movement grow over the past decade at least.
Great, no, that's great. Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing is what do you think the kind of the main barriers are to people being engaged with the Scout movement? Is there anything that the Scout movement is trying to work on to sort of encourage people into that kind of activity?
So much now, not a massive barrier. It tends to be usually schools, weirdly. So once we start getting people come from certain schools, we'll get an influx. Doesn't matter if it's to the same group, but if you have a certain school which none of their young people tend to go to a scout group, you get nobody from that school. It's a bit of a weird one with schools, but stuff like especially with religion, I know in Coal Valley, which is South Birmingham, essentially, we accommodate for that. We have specific groups as well that if people are more comfortable, they want to go to the same religion group. Like we have the 304th Muslim group in Moseley. If people want to attend that, they can. If not, they're still more than welcome to just attend another group.
That's great. No, that's really great, Dan. Well, thank you very much for your time. That was a really interesting talk, and it just shows you that Scout Movement doing some really great things on Duke of Edinburgh Awards scheme as well. So that's brilliant. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna pass over to Mark. I'm just gonna get up his presentation a second. Just bear with me a minute. Okay, so yes, we're lucky enough to have Mark and Director of Sport and Physical Activity at Birmingham City University. So I'll just pass you over now.
Lovely, thanks, James. Afternoon, everybody. Yeah, I'll give you a little flavour as to what we do at BCU to encourage people to be physically active and engage in sport and physical activity. As James said, my role is Director of Sport and Physical Activity. So I head up a department known as BCU Sport, and we basically look after all the beyond the curriculum sport and physical activity. So we run sports clubs, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but we also run an active wellbeing program, which I'll spend quite a bit of time on during the talk. Our aim, similarly to the overall aim of the university, is to transform people's lives, but we want to do that using sport and physical activity. We feel that not only does sport and physical activity have the benefit of physical health and helping with physical health, but certainly with students these days, it can have a really positive effect on students' mental health as well. and also their social health, being involved in either a physical activity club or a sports club, or just attending some physical activity sessions, can help with that social element of being away at university, or just helping to meet friends beyond your course. So we feel it has a real positive effect on the lives of our students, but also staff as well. So Birmingham City University is a university that has around 27,000 students, but it also has around 3,000 staff. And so we also try and encourage staff to get physically active as well, through a range of different activities and opportunities, which I'll talk through over the next few minutes. Can you move on to the next?
Yeah.
Thanks. So BCU Sport has been in existence for 4 years, 4 years to this month, actually. The first 3 years were very different to the last one, because of COVID, but throughout that time, we've used what we've called the ACE model. And we developed the ACE model just to ensure that whatever level of sport and physical activity that you are able or want to perform at, we have an offer there for you. So the A of the ACE model is activate. So we are really keen to activate people, to make them physically active in some way. And so in order to do that, we put on a range of social and informal recreational opportunities, which are there to increase participation and really help with people's well-being. And then we have the compete element as the C of the model, and that is where people are able to represent the university. So we are part of the British Universities and Colleges sport body, and we partake in a number of their competitions. So we have around 24 sports teams that represent the university, normally on a Wednesday afternoon, and that is in 19 different sports. So that helps us with our participation, but there's a little bit of a performance element to that as well, because obviously we want to be able to perform as well as we can as an institution. And then in terms of the Excel element, the E element of the model, we have a sports scholarship scheme, and that is to support anybody who is representing their sport at maybe county level, international level, and we're hoping, if things go well, we may even get an Olympian this year. So we are really keen, as I say, to be able to support our students at all levels, whichever level they want to engage with us at. If you can move on to the next slide again. Thanks, James. In terms of the way we work, this time last year, things were totally changed around. So everything that we delivered before COVID hit was face-to-face. So we put on a range of activities, from walking clubs, running groups, through to recreational badminton opportunities, then all the clubs that we run. So a real range of activities for people to engage with us in. However, it was evident that from March last year, we were going to have to really rethink how we actually delivered sport and physical activity. So one of the things that we did was looked to see how we could engage with our staff and our students, and how we could develop more of an online offer. So we really sort of upped our work on social media, and we decided towards the end of the year, from the March through to the September period, obviously we didn't know what was going to happen exactly with COVID. Students normally leave university between sort of May and June, so we had a little bit of time to prepare how we were going to do things differently. So when students came back in September, we started to run both face-to-face, but we also developed these online opportunities as well. And when we went into the second lockdown towards December, we decided that we really needed to up the level of what we were doing on social media, and started to run a number of campaigns. So we devised an overall Be Active campaign, where we got in touch with staff and students, both over social media and through internal communication systems, just to encourage them to not only be active, but start to share their activities with us and with the rest of the university community. And you can see on the slide just some of the examples of some of the activities that people did get involved in, and how they shared it with us on social media. And we thought then in terms of the campaign, that we really needed to keep the momentum going. So we thought that the Be Active campaign started to go really well, but we wanted to make sure that we kept that momentum going. And obviously we were expecting to see students back in university in January, but when we hit that next lockdown, we decided that we would run the Jump into January campaign, and then follow that up with Fit for February, Marching into March, and Active April. So what we've been able to do through having those different tags each month is just keep the momentum going, so that the staff and students have something new to engage with in terms of their engagement with us as the department. And as I say, the campaigns contain mini competitions, challenges and prizes, and we've been trying to do whatever we can to help motivate staff and students in that engagement that we have with them. And then if you move on to the next slide, please, James. So these are some of the additional online activities that we've been able to develop as part of the overall program. So we have a couple of different yoga sessions. So we do an online live yoga session every Friday, which a member of staff called Aldo takes. And we decided that actually that was really important to be able to engage with staff and students live. But there was a limit, obviously, to how many people could engage with that. And so through the university's YouTube channel, we were able to devise a range of pre-recorded yoga sessions as well. And so we devised a range of beginner yoga sessions that another member of staff, Antonia, took for us. And those have been really, really popular because staff and students can obviously pick them up at any time. We asked staff and students what they wanted, and by far the most popular way that people wanted to engage was through HIIT sessions, high intense interval training. So we decided that again we would develop a range of pre-recorded sessions that we would put on our YouTube channel, but also we wanted to do something live. So we developed a range of circuit sessions, which our strength and conditioning coach, who you can see in the picture at the top, delivers. And he did both the pre-recorded sessions, but every Monday and Wednesday he does a 15-minute Instagram live session, and I've been amazed at how popular they have been, especially with our students. We started them off as 30-minute sessions, but the feedback that we had was that 30 minutes was too long. And so we've cut them down to 15-minute sessions, and we've had a load of engagement with us through those Instagram live sessions, which has been really good. As I mentioned, we got the fitness workouts on our BC YouTube channel, and since February the 19th, we've also been doing a mindful body session, which another member of staff is delivering for us. And what these online opportunities have given us is a way of engaging with staff and students that we probably would never have done if it hadn't been for COVID. So when we go back, most of our students, some are already back, but most of our students will return after Easter. We will continue to deliver the online stuff, as well as the reintroduction of face-to-face sessions, which we are working on in terms of falling in line with national governing body protocols and their return to play protocol. So we are working very hard at the moment to really get something back face to face, but also supported with the online sessions. And it's been a really good way of being able to engage with different students. Our sports clubs have been very engaged with our online activities, but we've also found that we've engaged with a set of students that we probably wouldn't have engaged with if we'd just done the face-to-face stuff. So just to give you a little bit of a background, out of the 27,000 students that we have at BCU, 70% of those are commuter students. So they come from within an hour of the university and tend to travel in to the university to access their studies, but then they tend to go home again. And so those students aren't as engaged in a lot of the club activities that we put on as some of those students who are living more local to the university and sort of come from away but stay close to the university. And so we've engaged a lot more with our commuter students since COVID because of the online activities than we did before. So as I say, we're really going to make sure that we continue to do both moving forward. And then the last slide, please, James. Thank you. So what we've really seen over the last year since we've been working in and around COVID is that the power of social media and the power of online engagement has been really, really important to us. So we've developed our Instagram channels, our Twitter channels, but we've worked really hard with the university marketing team to develop the BCU YouTube opportunities as well. And this has been really important for us. And as I say, we've engaged with a different audience because of this. And so if you are keen to engage with us at all, our Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube channels are available and are all named BCU Sport. That's me done. So if anybody has any questions, be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, Mark. It's fantastic, the range of different things you're doing and the way that you've adapted over COVID is really impressive. So thank you very much for that. Just a bit of a question, really. I mean, let's say that the restrictions lift. Is that something that you probably do long term, having the online offer that you've got?
Most definitely. I think it's really important for us now moving forward. As I say, we've probably engaged with a different group of students because of our online activities. So it's really important that we continue to do that, and continue to engage with them, so that we will have a blended approach of both face-to-face and online opportunities for people to engage with physical activity. And we know for a lot of our students, for example, they are fitting in, you know, being a full-time student. Some of them are also fitting in part-time jobs. Some of them are carers. So to be able to access face-to-face sessions is not always easy for them. Whereas if we're engaging in terms of a 15-minute session in the middle of the day, which can actually be accessed at any time, then we're far more likely to engage with those people.
No, thank you, Mark. The feedback that you're getting from people, what is the nature of that feedback? Is it like, what kind of activities they want to do, and what kind of things? What are the kind of key themes that are coming out of that feedback that you're getting? It'd be really interesting to know that.
I think, as a lot of research has shown, people want to engage in activities that they see as relevant to them. They want to engage with activities at a time that suits them as well, and they want to be able to access that opportunity easily. Yeah. And I think that's where the online opportunities that we've developed have been really popular, is that actually I can do that in my house. You know, I can do that sort of at a time that suits me. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to travel anywhere. I can do it in my front room. It's going to take maybe 15 minutes for the HIIT sessions, you know, up to an hour for the yoga sessions. But it's something that they can do at a time that suits them, in a place that suits them, rather than I've got to travel for an hour to get to a physical session that's going to maybe last another hour, or you know, if it's a 15-minute session, I'm not going to travel for an hour to get there and then an hour to get back. It's so much easier just to do it there and then, sort of when and where you want it.
Absolutely, no, that's very interesting. And have you, in terms of getting ideas from other people, what other people are doing, has that been something that you've been working, collaborating with different people and that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And BUCS, the British Universities and Colleges,
BUCS,
sport organization, have actually been working on developing an online offer for all universities. So I think that some of the feedback that we've got so far is that students and staff have liked engaging with people who they know are from the university, rather than just putting on a yoga session on YouTube. And there are hundreds of them around, so there's plenty of opportunity for them to do that. But actually, BUCS are working on the potential of utilizing the universities as part of their organization as a whole, to develop a really wide range of online opportunities. And what that will give us the opportunity to do is maybe if we don't have somebody with a particular expertise, then rather than source it and pay for it ourselves, we'll be able to access that expertise through BUCS and through other universities as well.
Great, very great. And some of the YouTube offering, I mean, is that available to the wider public as well, presumably? Is that,
yes,
so that,
initially, it was part of there's a closed BCU YouTube channel.
Right.
But we've requested that it actually becomes open, so that other people are able to engage with it as well. And we were part of the This Is My City festival, which was run by the charity UCAN in the summer, and we made those facilities available through that, and it was really good to see the take up again on those occasions. So we're really keen to open it up and allow anybody to access them.
Really great. Well, so thank you, Mark. Thank you very much for the talk today and the answer to the questions. It's really interesting. And as a comment from, we've got a comment here saying that learning around digital, physical activity, and healthy lifestyle, greater social media presence has definitely been seen by many providers in Salford. Great opportunity to deliver more flexible services going forward. So I totally agree with that, Peter. So that's I think it's a way forward with things. What we've potentially something that we learned from COVID. So thank you very much for that.
And I think, James, there's an awful lot for us to still learn around it as well.
Yes.
So I think the learning will just continue to happen, and that's great because we are now able to engage with people in a different manner, and any way of engaging and promoting physical activity is really good. So we're definitely keen to learn more about the whole digital offer.
Great. No, thank you, Mark. I really appreciate that. I just thought just say for everyone, we've got obviously another webinar next week. It's physical activity in older adults. We've got some really good speakers. We've got speakers from Birmingham Settlement who have got an Aging Well programme, which is again using some online an online offer, has quite links to social prescribing as well. So that should be really good. And there's also Dance to Health, who are running a number of different groups in Birmingham area. And actually there's been a huge sort of shown benefit through a university study about the benefits in regards to falls prevention and other benefits for older adults. And that will include a demonstration by one of the dance artists. So I'm really looking forward to that. We may also have a third speaker as well, but that's not to be confirmed as yet. So we look forward to seeing you next week. And just to remind you, we're quite keen to get your feedback. The link is still in the chat, so really appreciate any comments or thoughts. And as I say, this webinar will be uploaded to the Healthy Brum channel for yourself or any colleagues that weren't able to attend. And if you wanted to use the hashtag as well, that would be great, just to broaden that out as well. So hopefully I'll see some people next week, and possibly some of your colleagues as well. Thank you very much.